Senator Blunt Rochester.
Thank you, Chairman Scott and Ranking Member Warren, and to the nominees and your families. In the last nomination hearing, I noted that it was unfortunate that we had so little time for some very important and consequential nominees. This one is even more jam-packed than that one, and it's ranging from housing to financial regulation to foreign intelligence. And I really just want to say I feel it's kind of a disservice to the American people and also to the nominees, and so that they're seriously considered. I'm going to be submitting questions for the record because I can't get to all of you in 4 or 5 minutes. But I want to focus today on Mr. Hughes. Thank you for meeting with me in my office. I appreciated the opportunity to talk about housing policy and how it is one of my top priorities. It's one of the top priorities of my constituents. And I recently introduced, I'm proud to say, my first piece of legislation that I've led as a U.S. Senator, and it was on housing. It's a bipartisan piece of legislation called the Housing Supply Frameworks Act with Senators Crapo, Fetterman, and Tillis. The bill directs HUD to develop frameworks for best practices on zoning and land use policies and is endorsed by more than 140 housing, governmental, and economic development groups. Do you believe that the federal government, Mr. Hughes, can play a role in providing best practices to localities to promote housing production and cut red tape?
Thank you for the question, Senator, and I appreciated our time in your office. I know we talked about our former CFO and the accomplishments we got done at HUD when the IG submitted the 13 material weaknesses and how we eliminated that in just a year and a half, and how we want to continue those efforts in this administration. But to answer your question, yes, the federal government can play an important role, and would love to work with you on I know what the legislation that you've proposed. I'd love to look at that and have a good discussion with you.
The original, it's interesting, the initial framework for zoning, the Standard Zoning Enabling Act, was actually passed in the 1920s. Things have changed a lot since the 1920s, and again, I look forward to working with my colleagues to get the Housing Supply Frameworks Act over the finish line and to address this housing crisis that we are all experiencing and really meet this moment. I would say by providing states and localities with a menu of options, communities who are ready to increase the housing supply will be empowered to reform their land use regulations. Mr. Hughes, I want to shift gears a little bit. When we met in my office, we spoke about our experiences as deputies. I was Deputy Secretary of Health and Social Services in Delaware, and we recognized the fact that a major part of this role, you said you were passionate about the workforce, and a major part is workforce planning. You've already been in a leadership role at HUD before and now, correct?
Yes, Senator.
And when Senator Cortez Masto asked about the potential closure of HUD field offices, you said the Secretary is taking inventory. What are the elements of that inventory? Does HUD plan to close field offices?
Thank you for the question, Senator. So we've been meeting with a number of non-career staff and also career staff, seeing what offices throughout the country are being impactful, and like I said, truly taking an inventory to look at how best we can serve the people that HUD represents.
What constitutes impactful for you? What are you looking at to decide whether to close offices or not?
Historically, since the field offices have been in place, most of the time those offices were put out in the FPM office that you're referring to, were there to really promote secretarial priorities. And then, throughout the decades, they've also become a place where people in states and regions can reach out to get information for important issues relevant to their areas. So looking at that, and then also looking ways we can maximize, or in some cases even make them better, is what we've been currently doing.
So I know I'm running out of time, but the we'd still like to get the elements of what that means. The Housing and Community Development Act requires HUD to maintain an office in every state. Closing the Wilmington field office without a waiver would be breaking the law. I think all of us as members who have constituents would like to know what are the elements, and will you come back to Congress for a waiver should you decide to do that?
Senator, I'll always follow what the committee says, but I can just assure you that Secretary Turner is a very good man. He's a servant leader, and he will follow the law, and I will follow the law. I can promise you that.
I have run out of time, so I will yield back, and I will submit questions for the record for the other nominees. Thank you,
Senator.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, ma'am.